Alright, hi everyone. Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. Good evening, and I hope you're all feeling good today. Give me one quick second here. I'm just quickly making sure everything is working. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? I'm doing fine myself. Warm as fuck, again. It was actually a bit cooler today, like it didn't feel that hot, but it's really feeling like quite warm this evening. What temperature is it actually? Let me check my phone. It is 14 degrees Celsius, which it feels a bit warmer than that, to be honest. Like, I went out earlier today just to, like, get some extra bit of shopping done, because over the weekend I'll probably not be going out that much, because E3 is just around the corner, so yeah, gonna be staying in for the weekend, I guess. I'm not really gonna be going anywhere. But yeah, it was nice, like, it felt like, I think it was because it was, like, very breezy when I was outside today. It didn't feel that sweltering or anything. But now that I'm in here in my apartment, my flat, it feels a little bit warm. I haven't broken out the AC unit yet. Like, I need to like get that set up. Takes a little bit of while to like get that organized, but I'm just too lazy at the moment. Maybe I'll get that set up for tomorrow. But yeah, I'm doing all right besides that, and we're going to be checking out yet another old Nintendo E3 conference. This time 2009. I would have checked this last night, but I was too tired after Rogue Heroes, so I had to like postpone that until today. I might do another one later tonight. I might do 2010, but I can't really, like, I'm not going to promise it if it's going to end up being a case of like I'll just be too tired to do it by the time I get around to it. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we watched the 2009 conference last night, and we're going to check out. We watched 2008. Sorry, did I say the wrong number? We watched 2008 last night, the one with the crazy lady, the one that broke her wrist in the snowboarding accident or something, and she had like this insane looking face. Oh yeah, that reminds me actually, before we start, I want to show you something that Dee shared with me last night. I think you guys want to see this. Let me just look for it real quick. I've got it here somewhere. Where did I save that? I'm pretty sure I saved it. Give me 1 second. Professional streamer moment. Just looking for. Oh, here it is. I found it. I found it. Yeah, check check this out. So this was like at the very tail end of the 2008 thing that I watched last night. Like, I took her face and I stretched it all the way out, and at one point that was the preview thumbnail for people watching, like, who was like currently streaming live. So I wonder if anyone else besides Deej actually saw this, because that would have been like, you would be confused as fuck if that was what you were greeted with. You'd probably not even click on that, to be honest, if you saw that. I don't blame them if they didn't. But yeah, just wanted to share that real quick, and we're gonna start the 2009. Let me just see. Got this set up, haven't I? Yeah, I got this set up. One more thing actually, since we're in E3 season, like E3 officially kicks off. Well, technically not well, it does start tomorrow, but some stuff starts a little bit earlier, and that stuff does begin tomorrow. So I'm just going to round that up as like part of the E3 festivities, I guess we'll say. And for anyone that's wondering what I'm going to be streaming over the next few days, here is the schedule. I took a little while to like figure out what was happening and which of the stuff will I be checking out. So keep in mind that I'll be getting my vaccination tomorrow, so there's a chance that I might be tired slash sluggish over the next few days. So I cannot necessarily promise that I will check all of this stuff listed here, but this is what I intend to check out, should the circumstances allow for it. At the very least, I think I'll be fine for the Nintendo Direct on Tuesday. I think that I'll be over that sluggish period by then. Like, apparently you feel tired after the vaccination for like a couple days, so fingers crossed I'll be fine by Tuesday. But yeah, I'm going to be checking out Ubisoft Forward and Devolver Direct tomorrow. So those two I can probably check out. There's a chance I might miss the start of Ubisoft Forwards, because my vaccination is like literally an hour before Ubisoft Forwards. But I think I'll have enough time to get the vaccination, come back, and then start the stream for the Ubisoft thing. Then Devolver happens a little bit later that night. Not that much later, actually, just like less than an hour away, I guess, after the Ubisoft. So I can do both. I can do both of them in a single stream, pretty much. Sunday, the 13th of June, Xbox and Bethesda showcase. This is where Microsoft starts to show off their games for the Xbox One and PC. Kind of smart idea of them, like taking Bethesda in and making it all like one big like, showcase rather than like have two separate conferences. I think that's like a smart move for Microsoft, especially like since they're trying to flex the power of Bethesda's branding since they bought them like about a year ago. So yeah, that's happening on Sunday, and then Square Enix Presents, I don't know how long that's going to be. Also, it starts at a weird time. It starts like 15 minutes past the hour. Did you notice that? Because I did. So again, probably do those in the same stream. I might do like some interim content in between if there's time for that. PC gaming show, that's like a couple hours later. And then if I'm still like able to do it, like if I really feel like doing it, I'll do the Future Games show. There is a chance I might just not bother with that one, but just that one, just put an asterisk next to it. Then Monday, Capcom Showcase. I'm guessing that'll be about an hour long, 10:30 PM my time, or the other times you can see listed there. And then finally, the Nintendo Direct on Tuesday. That's the one that I'm most excited about. Like, that's the one I think most of us here are like wanting to watch, to be honest. Kinda saving the best for last, I hope. Stay hydrated and keep paracetamol on standby. Well, I've got like a couple boxes of paracetamol. I'll be good for a couple days. But yeah, I just went to the store not too long ago to buy a few more bottles of water, so that'll last me for the weekend, I guess. Had my vaccine on Monday, was groggy on Tuesday, and fine on Wednesday. Your arm will be quite sore. Yeah, I heard that your arm gets sore, like the arm that you get injected with, you get your shot on, will be a bit sore. Like, I've been advised to get my shot in the arm that I use the least, so since I'm right-handed, it'll be my left arm that'll be getting my shot in. Still gonna be weird, though. Speaking of, like, weird pains, I had a bit of I've got a bit of a mild ache in the right side of my hip. I think I slept on it funny, but it's nothing too serious. I think it was just one of those things where I just kind of, like, laid in a weird way, and I woke up with that. But it's not, like, agonizing, it's just, like, a very mild pain. I think that'll go away tomorrow. To be replaced with, like, 2 to 3 days of a sore left arm. Yay! Anyways, that's the E3 schedule. I'll bring that up again later for anyone wanting to know about that. The details. Kinda last minute, me getting the schedule up, but you know me, I'm very disorganized. I'm like the most professional streamer you will ever meet, TM. Right, let's get into business then. Nintendo's E3 2009 conference. Let's go. Hang on a second, audio's not playing. There we go. Sorry about that. How long will this last? About 1 hour and 10 minutes. So you can see Nintendo's continuing to push the whole, like, casual crowd. I mean, they're still making, like, actual video games as well, but you know. They continue to, like, insist that, like, this is the future of video games. Also, that is some epileptic warning, I guess. Holy shit, that colour flashing. I just saw Link's crossbow training there for a fraction of a second. Yeah, we'll advertise that one. Also, Punch-Out! That's a game that for some reason wasn't shown in previous E3 shows, but Punch-Out! For the Wii, excellent game. I'd love to see them, like, port that to the Switch or something. That's a game more people need to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cammie Dunaway.
Oh god, it's her again. This woman.
Good morning, and welcome to everyone. Those of you here in Club Nokia, and in the Nokia Theater, and all of you watching online. There is one thing that every one of us attending here in person has in common: a professional connection to video games. Whether we make them, sell them, report on them, or analyze the companies that do all of that, we know that how well we do individually is directly linked to how well our category is doing. So, how are we trending? Well, NPD says that last year, video games were just as big as home video, just as big as toys, and even bigger than music and movie box office put together. The reason is obvious. Once our industry defined our consumers in a limited way, focusing only on those people who were already actively involved as gamers. Now, it's different. Maybe you've noticed a woman on the plane playing the Nintendo DS system, or your uncle calling you for tips on how to beat his buddies in Mario Kart. Today, it's clear, everyone's game. Now, certainly different companies are trying to build audience.
By the way, can you guys hear this just fine? Because I've got the media player at maximum volume and it still sounds kind of quiet.
In different ways. At Nintendo, we've been working nonstop at what sounds like a pretty simple goal. Create surprise. Now, once in a while, surprise breaks down the door in the form of absolute innovation, something so amazing that everyone instantly recognizes it. And sometimes it sort of creeps up on you, a grin or a shout buried in the middle of a level. Today, we will bring you both. Innovation in the form of the next leap forward in game control, and surprises in places where you thought there might not be any left. So let's kick off with that last point. If there's an icon for video games, it's probably the guy who's appeared in over 200 different titles and sold more than 200 million games globally. He's someone who seems like he's already done it all.
I wonder if this music is going to get content claimed. If I could speak over it, maybe not. So is this Mario Galaxy 2 they're going to be announcing here? I don't remember what this is for. Yeah, content claim music. My favourite.
Now, Mario in 3D was great. I think everyone remembers the first time leaping into one of the pictures in the castle. But we admit we haven't quite figured out how to move him into a fourth dimension.
Nanny?
But that number, 4, that's the key to Mario's next surprise.
Oh, is this new Super Mario Bros.
For the
Wii?
last 15 years, Mr. Miyamoto has been thinking about one new way to let you play a Mario game that's never been possible before. Today, here's his answer. New Super Mario Bros. For Wii.
Yeah, because 4 players.
To explain and demonstrate, please welcome Bill Trinan from our Treehouse group. Bill?
Thank you, Cami. Now, as Cami pointed out, creating something new for a game as classic as Super Mario Bros. Is hard to do. We managed to do it on Nintendo DS, and 18 million people around the globe appreciated the surprise that that game had to offer. But when our development team in Kyoto asked what they could do to make an all-new New Super Mario Bros. Game for Wii, the answer wasn't just more levels, more enemies, and more items. It was also more players. So Cami, why don't you come back out and play along with some of our friends from the Treehouse? I think it's only fair that you get to play as Mario. So Nate Bildorf will be joining as Luigi, JC Rodrigo as Blue Toad, and Rich Amtower as Yellow Toad.
I find it funny how they actually had to get them all like color coordinated for this purpose. Like, by this logic, she should be wearing red, not white.
Now, play control is as simple as it ever was, with a few new twists added in. You can play with 1 to 4 players, and item boxes
she died within the
generally
first.
produce
She
one
died to
item
the first
for each player
Goomba.
in the game, but not always. and it doesn't always mean that one player is going to get an item. Now, I think we've already seen one player lose a life, and that's 2. You're seeing a couple of new features here. The first, you can pick up and carry other players. Now, if you're cooperatively minded, you can do that to help save them from those enemies.
So here's the thing, I do like the cooperative aspect of the game. The one thing that annoys me though is everybody has like a physical hitbox. And what I mean by that is like you can physically bump into the other players. Like I kind of wish you could like phase through them. You know, so if like you're running into each other by accident, you just like go right through each other. I feel like bumping into each other kind of like gets in the way of the fun. At least for me it does.
Enemies or those pits. If you have other things in mind, you might want to throw them at those enemies or those pits. Now the other thing that you've noticed is when people do lose a life, they have a tendency to come back inside of a bubble. Now, again, if you're nice, you might want to let them out of the bubble so they can come back in and continue to play. But if you want to get all the coins for yourself, you don't necessarily have to. You'll notice that the game does include many of the classic trappings, warp pipes, hidden areas, lots of coins to collect. You'll also notice that this time around, the battle for those coins is probably a little bit more fierce. Now I'm just going to let them play for a little bit while I tell you a little bit about the structure of how this game works and the balance between single player and multiplayer. The main mode of the game you can play in single player mode. Or, if you want to, you can play it in co-op with up to 4 players. You can start in one, and you can switch to the other
Oh, that's
at any point in
interesting.
time.
Okay, so seeing that this is like a version of the game that isn't released, that's something like this letter P. This is actually like an orange mushroom with a propeller on top, so they had to change this graphic at some point in development. That's fascinating. I never knew this is what it looked like in like the beta builds of the game.
So if you happen to find a particularly hard level, you can call your friends over for help. What you see here is another new item. This is the propeller suit. If I had one of those, I'd be wearing it every day. That thing is sweet. Quick little shake of the Wii remote will shoot you high up in the sky, and you'll slowly drift back down. Now, of course, you can do that to save yourself from one of those pits, or you can use it to help yourself find new levels. Uh-oh. Looks like Blue Toad had a little trouble there. I wonder if anybody's going to... Oh, let him out. Very nice. Now, you can see that with 4 players, there's a lot going on. The screen is nice enough that it'll pan out to a much wider view when people spread out. But if the player at the lead goes a little bit too fast, you may find that if you're at the back, you get wiped off screen.
Stop that.
You'll also find some nice use of hidden areas, pipes and things like that as well. And I think it's
So yeah, I'm not sure how many people have played this particular Mario. It's a decent game.
It's the end of this level at any rate.
I quite like this one.
Yes, sliding, more propeller suits. And here we get to the end of the level. Oh, Luigi. Now, as soon as one player touches the flagpole, the others have about 3 seconds for them to grab on if they want to get any bonus points.
So here's the one thing about this particular Mario that... How do I explain this? Like, I do like this game. It's not terrible or anything, but the one thing that kind of annoys me about it is that you can kind of tell just by watching them play it that the level design is basically designed with 4 players in mind. Like, it's more open and more, like, empty looking. Like, it's not really designed for, like, a single person to go through it. I mean, some of the later levels, they do ramp up the challenge and whatnot. But it clearly feels like when they were designing these levels, it was like, okay, we've got to design these to account for 4 people at once. How do we go about doing that?
And at the end of every level, you get a nice
I think that's the
tally.
real
Shows you
reason
how
why a
many
lot of
coins you
people
collected,
don't like this game
how many
as
enemies
much
you
as the
stomped,
DS New Super Mario
tallies
Brothers.
up all your bonus points, and
Because
gives
at
you a
least with
ranking.
that one, it was a single player experience,
So
so,
let's see how
like, the
things
level
panned out
design was
here.
more focused.
Well, looks like first place goes to Rich, second place to Luigi,
Cammy
always,
came last.
the underdog. Third goes to JC as Blue Toad, and Cammy, looks like you came in 4th.
Respectable.
Well, guys, thanks for playing.
Thanks, guys.
Cammy, we'll give it back to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, this is why I make my living selling games rather than developing them. But we're happy to announce that new Super Mario Bros. For Wii can be played this week on the show floor and will launch worldwide holiday 2009.
Oh, that was
Now,
the
we
holiday
know
game?
that
Oh.
players will be lining up to play with and against each other in Mr. Miyamoto's newest masterpiece.
I remember there being this big thing at the time, like, you know how, like, after a couple of years of a system being out, like, people, like, learn to crack the system's firmware and then, like, dump games and you can, like, you know, pirate games and shit? I remember hearing that there was this one person who pirated this game when it came out, and Nintendo went fucking hard on them. Like, they just slapped, like, I don't know how much money they were, like, suing them for, but they basically made an example of them. Like, it was a lot of money, and it was just this one guy. Like, it wasn't like a piracy group, it was just like a singular person dumping and, like, releasing the ISO, and Nintendo didn't show any mercy on them. I'm not sure what happened to that person.
Now, while Mario may be a big draw, even he wasn't big enough to attract all consumers to our category. In fact, there are millions of people who never stepped up to gaming until they stepped on to this.
Oh.
In the 13 months since it launched, Wii Fit has been the best-selling video game in America and around the world. Some analysts have stopped looking at the Wii balance board as a simple accessory and started considering it as a separate gaming platform. That's because with 15 million sold, it now ranks alongside other home systems in terms of worldwide installed base. In fact, tens of millions around the world are enjoying Wii Fit. But as we all know, sticking with any exercise doesn't always happen. So we began looking at ways to make Wii Fit easier to apply to your daily life, more beneficial, and even more attractive for every member of the household. We'd like to introduce you to the result, Wii Fit Plus. Now, the original game was designed to have something
Is this the
for
one that has, like,
everyone.
the pedometer? Because I think I had
Next
this.
version moves in an added direction, helping find a specific workout routine that's exactly right for you. Now, from the main menu, you can now enter the locker room, where you'll become, in effect, your own personal trainer. There are 6 new strength and yoga activities included in Wii Fit Plus, but the key is how you mix and match individual elements. You can combine them in any order that you want, and you can even repeat the ones that you find particularly helpful. You can omit all the current interludes between exercises so that your routine can move continuously, 20, 30, even 40 minutes at a time. This customization can also work on particular needs. If you want to target a specific body area for strengthening or for toning or for conditioning, there are programs to help reach all of those goals. Now, Wii Fit Plus will even keep track of the total calories that you burn. Now, at the same time, this can't be entirely about fitness. What makes it Nintendo is that it's also a lot of fun. There are 15 new balance games. Now, behind me, you can see some of them: juggling, skateboarding, and one called Perfect 10, where you need to swing your hips in different directions to choose number combinations that total 10. Maybe you can think of this as brain age for your backside. Now, let me highlight just one more, where you will be leaping from platform to platform, swinging, dodging cannonballs, and jumping over rolling timber. Now, yes, these moves are reminiscent of someone you've known forever. But this is the first time you'll be able to understand what it's really like to run a mile in Mario's shoes.
What the fuck?
And Wii Fit Plus,
I didn't
with
do
new
that.
personalization options, will arrive
Did the video break?
this fall as a bundle with the Wii balance board.
Yeah, we're going
And the
vaporwave.
software
Okay, hang on a second. Let me try reloading the player. Maybe there's something wrong with it. That is weird. Let me quickly fix this, or at least try to. Where is it? 2009. Let me try that again.
will also be available
Nope,
as
it's
a
still broken.
standalone purchase
Okay, there we
for
go. I
those who
think the
already
video
have
encoding
the
was
Wii
fucked.
balance board. This evolution of the Wii Fit phenomenon
And yeah, brain age for
should
your
keep
backside,
Wii
did hear her say
itself
that.
right where it's always been, top of mind.
By the way, I don't think they show it here because I think like there was a later version on the Wii U for like Wii Fit Plus where it comes with like a pedometer. If you don't know what a pedometer is, it's like a little tiny like accessory that you put on your. It's like it's got a little clip that you put on the side of your pants, and the idea is you walk with it, and it measures how many steps you've taken. The funny thing is, if you do a little bit of detective work with the pedometer that they give you with that, you'll find that it's actually just a repainted Pokewalker. If you don't know what a Pokewalker is, it's something that came with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So they basically just took the exact same thing. Like, look at it, it's the same shape, same button, same screen. The only thing that's different is the software inside it and also the colour of the outside. But it's virtually identical. And yeah, this is for the Wii U because it says it up there on the top, like you can see it. But yeah, exact same. Like I guess they made too many Pokewalkers, so they were like, fuck it, we'll just repaint these, it'll be fine. Nobody will figure it out, it's the same thing. And yes, I had both a Pokewalker and a Wii U Wii Fit pedometer.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reggie Fils-Aimé.
There we go. 15 minutes in.
Wii continues to attack the games market like no system before. The march is advancing on multiple fronts. Innovative software, both from Nintendo and third parties. An easy-to-use philosophy that has pushed adoption beyond mainstream gaming and right into the middle of mainstream culture. And the battle plan has been communicated virally, boosted by word-of-mouth recommendation and hands-on testing. But the primary weapon for all of this is interface. First, there was a thing that looked like an odd TV remote. Then all of a sudden, you realized it was controlling the action in an entirely new way. Then the nunchuck, which kept the joystick in play.
By the way, if you're wondering why there's like a weird kind of shape going on with this compared to how they've shown it in previous E3s, it's because there was like a controversy going around like in the first few years of the Wii's life where people were basically swinging the Wii remote so hard that it was like coming out of their arm and like smashing their TVs and stuff, or like damaging walls or like breaking things, or you know, like hitting somebody in the fucking face. So one of their solutions, like, you had the wrist strap, but wrist straps were breaking as well, so they had to like get stronger wrist straps. But they also were like, okay, well, anybody that owns a Wii, send your like proof of receipt or something, and we'll send you a rubber jacket. So that's what this thing is that's like bulging out of it. It's like a rubber jacket that like comes with it when you buy it at that time. Otherwise, you have to like, you know, send them the receipt and they'll send you them for free.
And most recently, a new platform that has moved the gaming ground under our feet and opened up another separate path for game control for millions of new players. Today, we want to fully explain the next advance in game control, one that takes us from this to this. Now, well, obviously, I
Motion
can't
Plus.
use the old marketing line, you can see the difference, because just looking, you almost don't notice that little extender. Most people won't see the difference until they hit the power button.
Oh yeah, that's right. They made a longer jacket to house the Motion Plus in. Holy shit! You know what was funny about like the Motion Plus? Like back when you first bought the Motion Plus, and you played a game that was like compatible with it, like Wii Sports Resort or whatever, like it would always boot the game up and like give you like a painstakingly like 3-minute like FMV video with like someone's pair of hands just like showing you how to like install it. And it was kind of weird to watch, like it was something that you see with like every game that used the Motion Plus.
And what emerges is a new sense of realism in gameplay. Not the kind that makes a game look more real,
Also, why are they focusing on the power button there?
but one that makes it feel and play more real. For a couple decades, players only used their fingers to control game action. Today, they're off the couch. In fact, over the last few years, physical reality has become the new proving ground for game innovation. Now, Wii Motion Plus introduces an unprecedented level of physical reality by adding precision control. Take a look.
Please take a look. So yeah, I'm assuming the Motion Plus wasn't out yet, because the previous year they'd shown Wii Sports Resort in Motion Plus, but I guess it didn't come out that year. I like that they had to, you know, specifically paint a ping pong ball with the word Wii on it just for this, like, shooting. Like, for when they were recording this. Yeah, it's just like real life. I don't remember when they showed Skyward Sword. That might be like 2010 or 2011. Like, when did Skyward Sword come out? 2012? So it was probably 2011 they shown that. Oh yeah, it's this bootleg wave race game. Yeah, so I think they're just showing Wii Sports Resort stuff right now. I know there was other games that used the Wii Motion Plus, but I don't know if they show any of that during this conference. I don't remember. I remember there was a Tiger Woods game that used it, and it was pretty good. Like, I had that Tiger Woods game. I don't remember which year. Also, they fixed the upside down W to look like an actual M this time. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, watch my previous video on this like sub-series I'm doing, if you want. Also IGN. Every time I watch these, it's always the IGN. It's like, this is the video game equivalent of hyper-registered unregistered HyperCam 2. That's basically what it is.
That's how it works on video. But on video, you can do almost anything. So to give you a real-time feel for this next dimension in physical reality, please welcome back Bill Trinan.
At last year's E3, we gave you only a taste of Wii Sports Resort. From the video, you got an idea of the breadth of activities. Now I'd like to show you more of the precision and depth Wii Motion Plus adds to Wii Sports Resort. Now, Wii Motion Plus detects the position of your Wii remote, detects the angle you hold it at. It knows all that there is to know about how and where you are holding your controller and applies it to the game. Combined, the Wii Remote and Wii Motion Plus offer precision in motion. So let's see how that precision can be applied to gameplay. I'll start by showing you how you and everyone else who plays the game will also start by jumping out of an airplane. With Wii Motion Plus, my Wii Remote is my me in skydiving, the first activity that you'll encounter in the game.
Oh yeah, there's Woohoo Islands.
Now you can see, I can spin him around. I can turn and twist. I can position my me to grab other me skydivers.
But I hope there's not any interference in the, you know, the stage that are like doing
and
this
if I
at.
want to,
Because if you haven't seen it, like when they show Skyward Sword a couple
can
years
dive
later,
straight
it was
down,
kind of a
speed
disaster.
up my
Like the
descent,
motion controls were just
or I can flatten
broken.
out to grab a few more of my friends.
We'll be seeing that at some
Let's see how
point.
many I can
Like
get
I'll show
here.
you guys
Oop,
that.
There's another one. And one more. Woo!
This kind of reminds me of Pilot Wings.
So as you can see, it's a lot of fun.
Like Pilot Wings 64 had like a
Now
skydiving
this is just the
minigame.
beginning of the game, so we'll have a little fun falling in formation. Go upside down, probably not too safe.
And then they realized
Wanna
they
make a
didn't
safe
pack their
landing.
parachutes.
Try to get us right in position. The chute's open. Welcome to Wii Sports Resort. From this fun and simple
Welcome
introduction,
to
every
Jurassic
single player
Park.
will immediately understand how to use Wii Motion Plus and how it is different from the standard Wii Remote.
Oh hey there, Dee. Welcome to
And
the
that's
stream.
before you even set foot on the island. Next up, I'd like to take you through archery. It's a sport that controls just like it would in real life, but just like real life, one that requires a great deal of skill. To play, you hold the Wii Remote vertically in your left hand if you're right-handed, or vice versa if you're left-handed, just like you would hold a real bow.
Yeah, the archery game
Press the
was
A
pretty
button with
good.
your thumb.
I played a
grip
lot of
the
Wii
bow.
Sports Resort.
It
Like
feels
this was one of
great.
my favorite games in
Hold
it.
down
Like
the
this
Z
one
button
and
on
the
the
one with
nunchuck.
like the swords.
Draw back your bowstring. And you can see how every pan left to right, up and down, is accurately reflected on screen. Oh, come on, I can do better than that.
5!
You'll also notice there's a wind gauge in the top right-hand corner. So I'm having to compensate here for distance, for wind, and other factors like a moving target. Oh, that's not better than the first shot. All right, we'll try this once more. Actually, we're going to try a second target after this. You also notice that as I draw back the bowstring, my vision zooms in. And the longer that I hold the bowstring back, the smaller my area of focus becomes.
I find it funny
there's,
how
there
Bill
is some
Trinan, like
timing
a
element
guy
to it
that's
as well.
known for like working very
So we're
closely
gonna
with
go through, 3
Nintendo
more
and
shots
like,
here.
you know,
You get 3
localizing
shots
and
per target.
playtesting these games
You'll
can't
notice
get better
that,
than the
to compensate
5
for
on
distance,
stage.
I'm going to have to arch my shot just a little bit, just
Okay,
like
there
I
we
would
go.
a real bow.
It's not quite a 10, but that's better.
And as you can see, it's not about learning the controls. It's about doing what comes naturally. And from that point on, it's all dependent on your own skills, which is precisely the kind of challenge that longtime gamers strive for. Oh,
Miss!
not a good shot. Well, I've got one more sport to show you today, but of course it wouldn't be very sporting without a little competition. So, since I'm a glutton for punishment, I figure why not invite Reggie back out on stage for a little 3-point contest. Reggie?
I hope you shoot baskets better than you shoot arrows.
Oh, man. I didn't know that was coming. You ready to see who shoots better from downtown, Reggie?
You know, normally my game is that inside power game. but
So I
we'll
couldn't
see.
resist.
Yeah, if I was playing against you in the paint, I might be scared. Now, the beautiful thing about basketball is that, once again, the controls are simple. You simply hold the Wii Remote, you aim, and you shoot the ball at the hoop. You know
There we
that
go.
is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to be looking at that for the rest of this
And then all
session,
you
by the
need-
way.
Some good aim, a little flick of the wrist. both
Once we
for
get the Game
style
Builder
and for
Garage, I'll
accuracy.
replace that with
But
the
of
Game
course, I
Builder
hear that
Garage
you know all
logo.
this because you're hitting the court like 3-4 times a week.
No, I tell Mr. Iwata every waking moment I'm working.
I think he's going to find out the truth today. Well, you know, my problem is I haven't played
Right, well, we still
basketball
got
since
about
I was
40
in middle
minutes of
school,
this
so I'm
left
gonna
for
have to
anyone
channel
wondering
a
when
much
Game
younger
Builder
version of
Garage
myself
is,
to beat
so
you.
give or
I
take
think you
40,
can
50
handle a
minutes.
4'9"
Depends on how
eighth grader.
long I'll be, like,
4 foot
how
9 inches? Is that
much
how
of that
tall you
time
were
I'll be
then, or
pausing
how
to, like,
tall you are
interject.
Brutal. Oh, very funny. You ready to go, big man?
I'm ready to
That's
go.
it. All right, count of 3. 1,
So this
two,
basketball
three.
minigame, one of the least impressive like showcases of the Motion Plus, because it doesn't really feel
You gotta reach down, grab the ball.
like
and
yeah,
then
you get
shoot.
more accurate throws, but it doesn't
Some
really.
people find that the full motion from the tip of your toes to the flick of the wrist really helps.
Also, it's kind of weird just like watching those two
I
down
missed
there
the
just
last
like
shot.
doing
I'm at
this.
4. How are you?
Like
Now
it doesn't
I'm at
feel like
4.
you're getting the feedback
Uh-oh.
that you would normally get with like other games
Oh.
in Wii Sports Resort in terms
Oh
of like
man,
the motion
this
controls.
is a bad rack for me. There we go.
If that makes sense.
I was throwing up
I'm
some
not
bricks.
sure how to word it, but
Now,
if
the
you
nice
played it
thing is that
yourself,
once
you
you
would
find
kind of
your
understand
rhythm,
what I'm getting at.
You can kind of keep it going, just like a real 3-point contest. Oh, I'm at 10. Oh,
I guess
missed
it-
the money ball. That was 2 points.
I guess his body is Reggie.
Oh, now I'm feeling it. How's that, Reggie? Oh.
14.
Oh. 16 right here.
I mean, I would take this over that fucking drummer guy from like Wii Music.
Oh. Oh. Oh, no.
Oh!
Reggie wins.
The money ball
On the
saves
money
you?
ball.
Wow. Nice shooting, Tex. I better get off stage before I get embarrassed anymore.
Thanks, Bill. Wii Sports Resort brings a new level of physical reality to a world that is distinctly Nintendo and launches here in the Americas on July 26th. But others are putting Wii Motion Plus to work even sooner. For example, Electronic Arts has announced Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10
Yeah, that's
will
the
not
game I
only
got.
employ Wii Motion Plus
When I bought
technology,
Wii Motion Plus and Wii
but
Sports
the
Resort, I
game
bought this as well.
and the accessory will be sold
Specifically just to use the Wii Motion
together. EA's
Plus.
Grand Slam Tennis for Wii.
But there was an extra game mode in it that was pretty good called Disc Golf, which is basically you take a frisbee and you like throw the frisbee disc along a golf course, and instead of like throwing it into like, you know, like a hole because it won't fit in the hole, you throw it into like a little basket. And that's how you like, you know, pot it, and like that's how that game's equivalent of like potting it into a hole. But it was pretty fun. Like it was very good for the Motion Plus. Like I'll have to see if I can find that game in my like. I don't know if I still own that anymore. If I do, I'll have to look for it. But yeah, I remember that being pretty like well made. And this is like an EA game. Keep in mind, like this was an EA Sports game, but the Wii Motion Plus integration was fantastic for like a third party game.
Will also incorporate Wii Motion Plus technology. And for the first time, Sega's Virtua Tennis will be served up for a Nintendo home
I've never played a
platform,
Virtua Tennis game, but
also
I've heard they're
featuring
goods.
Wii Motion Plus Precision. What this means is that every little mistake you make in the real world when you currently bury your backhand into the net or slice your 3-wood out of bounds will be faithfully reflected in the game. This new dimension in physical reality will have you muttering all the same bad words you do in real life. All 3 games will be available in a matter of weeks. And for Ubisoft's Red Steel franchise, the commitment to Wii Motion Plus is absolute. Red Steel 2 will be playable only with Wii Motion Plus control.
That game is pretty good.
These new titles begin to suggest how third-party development is flowing to Nintendo. And that's because last year in America, more third-party games were sold for Wii than any other platform. And Nintendo DS came in second. That trend, one that incorporates every game genre, will only grow this year. For example, let's focus for a minute on just one game category, the RPG. If Wii Motion Plus is all about physical reality, RPGs are mainly about what goes on inside your head. The story, the strategy, the quests, and the combat. RPGs allow developers to vary their approach. For Square Enix, this means an exclusive open-world adventure built specifically for Wii, introducing a highly interactive environment for the Final Fantasy franchise.
I do not have time to play with you.
Oh, don't say that, Goldenrod. I still have some energy to burn.
This is a crystal idol.
I don't know what this Final Fantasy game is called, but I've never played it. The only Final Fantasy game I played on the Wii was Chocobo's Dungeon, which is pretty fun.
Crystal bearers are abominations. That's what everyone believes.
What happened just now?
Can he be trusted?
The Crystal Bearers.
Was that game any good? Because I don't know. I've never played that one.
And Square is also bringing a classic RPG franchise to Nintendo DS. An exclusive version of Kingdom Hearts will be available on September 29th, and the look and feel are incredible.
It's not 365 over 2 days, is it?
I want to be with you two.
I think it is. Nope, I'm not gonna let you fucking take money away from me. Not that I make money off these videos anyway, because I'm not monetized yet. But I fucking hate YouTube's content claim system and how everybody fucking puts ads on my videos. Piss off. So, what is this 365? I think it is. Yeah, that game. Wasn't really keen on that game. I tried to get into it. Couldn't get into it. Just gonna wait until the music goes away. Right, there we go. Oh. There we go.
For several months,
Bowser's Inside Story, I think.
role-play fans in Japan have discovered that Bowser, that longtime bad guy, really does suck. And I mean that in a good way.
I think I remember that clip, like out of context Reggie clips, or whatever it's called, like that thing on Twitter. I think I remember seeing that.
The latest Mario and Luigi RPG game, subtitled Bowser's Inside Story, has the world's most famous game brothers reduced to microbe size and ingested by their arch enemy, where they go to work checking out Bowser's internal pipes. And here again, I mean that in a good way.
Bowser's Inside Story is fantastic. It's probably the best game in the series, to be honest. I think I still like the first one just a little bit better, but I do love the third game in the series. Also, rest in peace, Alpha Dream. I wonder if Nintendo is gonna like do anything with the Mario and Luigi franchise, like maybe get like a different studio to, work on it. I mean, never say never, they could do that, but who knows. I think for now, Nintendo's laid the Mario and Luigi franchise to rest, but I think we'll eventually see a new game in the series, helmed by like a new studio. Just a question of when.
Fans in the West have waited long enough to take their turn at this action, but they don't have to wait much longer. Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story will be available at retail both in North America and Europe this fall. And before we leave the RPG category, there's one more piece of important news. A legendary RPG name is on its way back to Nintendo Portables, a franchise that's been gone for quite a while.
Is it Chrono Trigger?
After going dark 6 years ago, 2010 will bring a new dawn with Golden Sun DS.
Oh, okay then. I know that Chrono Trigger's on the DS, but I don't know if that came out by the time this conference happened, or if that came out later. Never played Chrono Trigger. I've never played Golden Sun either. Anyone here play Golden Sun? Is that a good RPG? It's like well, that's worth checking out, because I would assume it is. Also, you might notice the Nintendo DSi was out at the time, because DSi camera.
The Nintendo DS line remains the world's most lucrative target for game creation, coupling low development costs with a global installed base now exceeding 100 million units. That kind of installed base lets developers take risks and innovate. I want to show you 3 examples. If there's a current king of mystery writing, it's probably James Patterson, who's authored dozens of different bestsellers. Beginning on October the 13th, you'll be enjoying Patterson's work in a new way. His Women's Murder Club, Games of Passion from THQ,
just being fucking stupid, don't mind me,
like an interactive novel, and will help usher both casual gamers and passionate readers into the wider universe of video games.
Why join a book club when you can join the Women's Murder Club? This October, James Patterson, author of 40 New York Times bestsellers, brings an all-new mystery to your Nintendo DS and DSi. Women's Murder Club, Games of Passion. Play the part of Detective Lindsay Boxer, reporter Cindy Thomas, or Dr. Claire Washburn.
I've never heard of this game.
Uncover hidden clues. Analyze scientific evidence. Interrogate suspects to
I think they were trying to chase that, like, lucrative market that the Phoenix Wright series, like, you know, brought upon us, but, I don't think anyone remembers this game, myself included. And I guess that's for a good reason.
Now, while Women's Murder Club might appeal first to relatively new gamers, there's also new intellectual property from Ubisoft that goes the other direction. A new Nintendo DS adventure, Cop the Recruit, will have an immediate
oh yeah, I think I
attraction
remember that game.
for fans of grittier, more urban, open-world gaming.
I'm pretty sure Cop the Recruit was meant to be like, it was either like a GTA or like a driver game or something, but they ended up making a new IP out of it. It was meant to be like a DS version of Grand Theft Auto, like a 3D one, as opposed to like top-down like Chinatown Wars.
We'd like to introduce you to a young New York cop, forced undercover to unravel the conspiracy that's framed his partner.
Hi there, Nikki. Welcome to the stream.
My name is Dan. Dan Miles. Underground street racer. Unstoppable. Or so I thought. The day I was arrested, I got 2 choices. A life behind bars, or a life behind the wheel.
Yeah, this is, like, I think I had this game. It looks good, but it doesn't really have the soul of a GTA game.
No kidding. The badge is fast.
I mean, it's ambitious for DS.
Is faster.
What was even more ambitious about it was the engine. Like, when you do the driving segments, like going through the world map, like, it runs at 60 frames per second, like, no joke. Like, that's how good the game runs. Have you ever played Cuphead? Yep, I played Cuphead, and I'm looking forward to whenever that expansion DLC comes out. I'll stream it.
Now let's shift gears again. For several months, fashionistas in Japan have been designing their own outfits and decorating their own boutiques with Nintendo DS game Girls Mode. In America, it will be known as Style Savvy, and we expect it will further expand female gameplay for preteens and 20-somethings.
Time for girl games, I guess. Okay then. Like, this is reminding me of those, like, weird websites where you get, like, you know, weird Flash games or whatever designed for girls, where it's like, girls dress up and stuff like that. Like, remember that one JonTron episode where he covered, like, bootleg Disney games, and then it ended with, like, you know, Disney Elsa, like, dress-up games? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this right now. Wi-Fi connection support, rest in peace.
As you can see, Nintendo DS equals diversity. It's the platform that literally delivers on the old promise, something for everyone. Now, and while Nintendo DS allows developers to experiment with almost anything they want, the new Nintendo DSi lets them think about delivering surprise in ways that just weren't possible before. And Nintendo DSi is already capturing the passion of players. Take a look.
So yeah, I had a DSi. Like, I went from a fat DS to a DS Lite to a DSi. Like, I basically went through all three variants of, like, the family.
I got to the DS Lite, and now I'm gonna get a DSi.
Well, I really like the direction that they're going right now, which is what can you and I do together? I'm a very on-the-go person, so it's a very on-the-go system for me.
I love being able to carry it around wherever I want, pop it open, pop it closed.
It's really awesome how many games there are, touch screen, and you're like in the game.
You know, you've got games involving the camera, also got, you know, the microphone there, you've got the touchpad.
The internet's going to be awesome, and the music player is even cooler.
Me and my sister are always playing against each
Oh yeah,
other.
that's right. The DSi had a music player. I forgot about that.
With my friends and have it be a group activity as opposed to just me being alone playing by myself.
I just couldn't put it down.
Like the DSi, they were trying to go for more. Like, I think they were trying to, like, you know, compete with, like, the iPhone market, because the iPhone was still kind of a new thing back then. So it had, like, a media player. Like, you could take pictures and you can save them in, like, your album. You could edit, like, pictures and shit. It was kind of cool. But obviously limited, considering the time it came out. Like, it wasn't, you know, going to be an iPhone killer, but Nintendo was, like, trying to, you know, find ways about that.
Awesome.
I'm really excited to see what's coming up in the future.
When we first talked about Nintendo DSi coming to America, we predicted that it would naturally complement the current Nintendo DS Lite. After all, different features, different price points, and at least initially, different audiences. So far, that's exactly what's happening. As of today, total Nintendo DSi sales in America in the 2 months since launch have surpassed 1 million units. And during that same time period, consumers have purchased another 400,000 Nintendo DS Lites. Now, the key difference between Nintendo DS Lite and Nintendo DSi is personalization. It's the way every owner can make it his or her own. Now, depending on what you download, the content you capture, and how you manipulate that content, your portable is going to feel like no one else's. Obviously, that reflects a wider trend that's going on all around us. People today don't just consume entertainment, they create it and then share it, sometimes with their friends and sometimes with the general public. Now, earlier this spring, we demonstrated Moving Memo, software for Nintendo DSi that lets you create your own little animations and then broadcast them to the world. Today, we can announce that this simple movie maker called Flipnote Studio here in America will be available to Nintendo DSi owners this summer.
I played a lot of Flipnote Studio. Like, that was a really fun little just Flipnote animation program thing.
Now, other user-generated content is also on the way. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is the franchise's third offering, but the first to let players design levels from the ground up. Not only will players have full control over where to set traps, enemies, and a host of power-ups in the construction zone, but they can also upload their creation to friends locally or via Nintendo Wi-Fi connection.
Am I the only one that didn't give
Now,
a
when
shit
the
about
minis
Mario
aren't
vs. Donkey
marching
Kong
through
after the Game
your
Boy Advance
own
game?
diabolical
Because I
creations,
feel like they
they're navigating
shifted
puzzles
the
that harken
focus
back
of the
to
game
the
from
arcade
like...
debut of Mario and Donkey Kong.
Sorry,
as
I
always-
hate talking over this. Like, I'm just like, I think I've talked about this before, but like, the original Mario vs. Donkey Kong on Game Boy Advance was kind of like a remake, or not really a remake, but it was kind of like a re-envisioning of the Donkey Kong Game Boy game from 1993. And it was really good. Like, I really liked that they like brought that idea back. But then after that, it became like just a generic like puzzle game. Like, they kind of took that one aspect about it away, and I just lost all interest in it. Like, I didn't give a shit about this franchise ever since that.
Obstacles lie between the minis and their goal. But what are these obstacles? Well, now that's mostly up to you. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again is playable on the show floor and is available only as a download for Nintendo DSi via DSiWare beginning June 8th. That's right, this coming Monday. Now here's another title that puts the concept of user-generated content on center stage.
I mean, at least with this conference, unlike the last one, they're showing like a lot of like, you know, more focused or like more like actual video games and not like just a shit ton of like casual stuff. Like, yeah, we had Wii Sports Resort, but that was kind of like just one thing. I don't know what the final game is they're going to be showing though. Maybe it will just be like 20 minutes of Wii music or something again.
WarioWare DIY, as in
Oh, yeah.
do it yourself, includes a feature
I
for
love the
players to
WarioWare
design
DIY.
their own games
Kind of
from
appropriate
scratch.
since I'll be playing Game Builder
Every
Garage
element,
in like
the
30 minutes.
characters, the environment, the actions, even the purpose of the microgame itself is controlled entirely by the player. We believe this is as close to essential game design as any title has ever come. Now, the fundamentals here are simple, but the decision-making process, inventing the very nature of the challenge, makes this experience deeply compelling. And when your microgame is completed, you can share it with other WarioWare DIY owners. Now, after all, creating content is only half the fun. For example, no matter how goofy you make your best friend look with the new Nintendo DSi camera, the real satisfaction comes when you can show that image to everyone. And that's about to get a lot easier. Beginning this summer, you'll be able to automatically upload photos taken with your Nintendo DSi and share them with your friends on Facebook. Now, while millions of photos are uploaded to Facebook every day, the new Nintendo DSi, with its 10 editing lenses, makes it even more fun to personalize and share your photos with some of the 200 million users on Facebook.
Remember when the previous Nintendo conferences that I watched and they mentioned MySpace and I was like, oh god, remember MySpace? Sadly, I can't say that about Facebook because that still exists.
Now, while user-generated content is hot, we don't intend to get entirely carried away with it. After all, the great majority of Nintendo DS owners will spend the majority of their time enjoying what professional developers create for them. And perhaps no Nintendo DS creation is more eagerly anticipated than the new game Mr. Iwata disclosed earlier this spring, The Legend of Zelda: Spirit Tracks. But words can't do it justice. After all, playing is believing. I've played it, and so can you, on the show floor this week. Between new Nintendo DS games and new Nintendo DSi opportunity, there has never been so much going on for Nintendo portables.
I gotta be honest, like, I've not been, like, yesterday when we watched that 2008 press conference, like I was just like completely like laying it thick about how she was like just the queen of cringe. Like she had this like very weird aura about her where she just kind of looked like a complete lunatic and maniac. I mean, look at that picture down there. But she actually seems more composed and like, you know, like more stable in this presentation. Like she doesn't seem like a complete nervous wreck this time around. Like she seems like an actual professional on stage.
Stop by the Nintendo booth to test drive not only new games, but also new experiences. In our world, everyone's game.
I remember Spirit Tracks. It's been too long since I played it, but I think it was a decent game. One of my favourite modern portable Zelda games, though, is the, what's it called? Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Like, that game is really good. Everyone's game.
Now, please join me in welcoming the man who is leading Nintendo's efforts, explaining that there is a gamer inside everyone. Our global president, Mr. Satoru Iwata.
I love how I had that at maximum volume, just so we could hear what she was saying, and then that music blurts out and then bursts my eardrums.
Thank you, Cami, and good morning. When Nintendo first began talking about bringing millions of more people to video games, many thought that was impossible. But today, these things have come to be accepted. And as a result, the global gaming population is greatly expanded. But there are some now who believe the audience expansion movement is beginning to fade. Recently, we have been continuously conducting our own research around the world to find out what's happening. Nintendo divides the population into three basic groups: those who actively play games, those who say they will never play, and those who might someday. Obviously, if the population of gamers is to grow further, it must come from this group of maybes. So, how many are there? In Japan, the United States, and 6 countries we measured in Europe, there are already more than 295 million people actively playing console or handheld video games. These people, of course, are big software purchasers. But at the same time, there are more than 149 million people in these territories who say they might be interested in getting involved. To put this another way, for every 2 people now playing, there's 1 more just waiting to jump into the game. Imagine the opportunity if the number of players was 50% larger than it is right now. As the data show, we still have a long way to go in expanding the gaming population. As a matter of fact, it is the ability to appeal to such new players that may decide the fate of entire platform. We have been able to erase the viewpoint that those who never played games in the past will also never play them in the future. And our next goal is to create individual titles which can actually satisfy every kind of game player, even though the range of experience and skill level within the gaming population is now much wider. This is a rather unprecedented challenge. Previously, the best games were always considered those that require the most advanced skills. However, this kind of assumption concerns me. In the world of entertainment, making it harder for newcomers to join is a dangerous strategy. Always raising the bar on the necessary skills for players means that the number of people who feel like getting started with games must necessarily decrease. But on the other hand, if we simply lower the bar, we won't satisfy highly skilled players. And I am also troubled by the imaginary wall that is built higher and higher between what is considered an experienced player and a novice, between the veterans and the newcomers. After all, every one of us was a new player at one time. No one was born an expert gamer. Maybe we began on Space Invader or Pong or Donkey Kong. These were all immensely popular, but at the same time, intuitive enough to be enjoyed by everyone. Ideally, this is still possible to create products that can satisfy both advanced players and novice players simultaneously. Last year, Nintendo began to address this by introducing the combination of Mario Kart Wii software and Wii Wheel. We feel we've made a certain amount of progress. Maybe you yourself have played this game with a casual or even non-gamer. And we intend to move further toward that goal with some key products you've seen today: New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Wii Sports Resort, and Wii Fit Plus. Whether you never played games before or already consider yourself an expert at such titles, we believe these games will please you with a depth that might surprise you. In a sense, each of these could be considered everyone's game. We believe the right product can increase mutual understanding and therefore increase the social standing of all game players. But finally, I understand that this kind of solution alone might not be entirely convincing. Most of the names we talked about today are familiar even to current non-players. What has most attracted new players so far are entirely different approaches, software like Brain Age and Wii Fit. What's next? I thought I should give you at least one potential answer. So today, as a sneak peek, I'd like to show you another entirely different way of thinking about games. With Brain Age, Nintendo proposed training your brain. With Wii Fit, we suggested using balance to train your body. Today, please look for the first time at the Wii Vitality sensor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When you insert your finger
Remember
in the
this thing?
Vitality sensor,
This
first
thing never came out.
recognizes your pulse. But pulse is not just a measurement of your heartbeat. Our pulse contains a number of other signals being transmitted by our bodies. The point here is,
Yeah, this thing never released, and I think there may have been at least a couple like third-party games planned for it, and I don't know what the first-party offerings for this was going to be, but this was never like this never saw the light of day, and I kind of wish we lived in a timeline where it did come, so that we could, actually see what it was all about, like how it was going to I mean, it was kind of a cool idea. It's just I'm not sure exactly how it was going to work, and sadly, we'll never really see that.
once again, to visualize something which otherwise is invisible. For example, how nervous am I up here on stage today? How focused am I on remembering my script? These things are normally invisible. Just as we enable you to see the center of your body balance with Wii Fit, the Wii Vitality sensor intends to have you see the information relating to the inner world of your body. People would be able to use the product we are developing with this Wii Vitality sensor to achieve greater relaxation. Maybe everyone under pressure in our stressful society could use this as a way to relax with a video game.
By the way, if anyone's wondering when I'm going to be doing Game Builder Garage about 10 to 15 minutes from now, like we've just got over 10 minutes of this left.
Traditionally, video games have been developed to give an increased sense of excitement or stimulation. But it may not be long before games are also used to let people unwind or even make it easier to fall asleep. We believe when the previous strict definitions of video game are removed, when more and more software developed which can be played regardless of skill or difficulty level, then the wonderful potential of our kind of entertainment can blossom in full. And I very much look forward to that day. Thank you very much.
So this was quite literally the last time we heard of the Wii Vitality sensor. They never followed up with like any more information beyond this one like reveal, I guess you could say. So yeah, when rest in peace, Wii Vitality sensor.
Thank you, Mr. Iwata, for that look into the future. Now, relaxation aside, the fact is we've still got a little stimulation to deliver. We began our presentation with Mario, appearing for the first time in 4-player mode. We've also shown him alongside Luigi in their latest RPG. And we've seen him facing off against Donkey Kong, this time in an adventure that players themselves can help invent. But if you think that that's all the Mario news you can handle, you might want to think again. Because for the first time ever, a second full 3D Mario title
oh, here we go, Mario
is going
Galaxy
to appear on a single Nintendo console.
I'm going to stream this game at some point later this year. This game has Yoshi in it, yeah, there he is. Which I guess was also a first for like 3D Mario. But yeah, apparently the reason we got a Mario Galaxy 2 was because the development team had so many ideas for the first game that they couldn't fit it all into like one game. So basically the sequel is like an expansion, like a standalone expansion pack if you think about it that way. Because all the extra ideas that were left on the cutting room floor were used for this game. But it still feels like a complete full game, like it doesn't feel like a, you know, like a cash grab. It legit is like a really good game. Both of them are. But yeah, I streamed Mario Galaxy 1 last year when it came to the 3D All-Stars collection. I'll stream the second game on my Wii at some point this year. Something tells me Nintendo's not going to bother porting the second game to the Switch, even though they have the emulator internally for that sort of thing. Because, you know, Mario died back on March 31st, for those that didn't know. CNN. But yeah, I will stream this game later this year. It's a really fun platformer. You Are Mr. Gay 2. The best game ever made.
What we've shown you today are the latest steps in our constant goal of bringing more kinds of game experiences.
We got about 8 minutes left. I don't know what the final game's going to be, so it better be a good one.
To more kinds of gamers. Some of it with innovation, some of it in the form of surprise. Wii Sports Resort, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Wii Fit Plus, Golden Sun DS, Mr. Iwata's Wii Vitality Sensor announcement.
Okay, that's the last moment we hear about it.
The game creation elements on Nintendo DS. They all serve this purpose very well. But I'll be honest, I read the blogs too. And I've been a gamer myself for a long time. I know there are still people out there listening who are saying, okay, great, but I want more. And that more is generally associated with publishers not named Nintendo. So let me offer just 3 examples of third-party titles with a little harder edge, ones you'll be playing exclusively on Wii before year-end.
Okay.
The first is new IP from Sega that you've heard about before and will be picking up at retail in just 3 weeks. The Conduit was built from the ground up
this game
specifically for Wii and introduces us to the all-seeing eye.
It's time to go to work.
This is a first-person shooter, and I remember it being decent.
Mankind fight a war. The enemy has already won.
There's no time, Michael. This city is doomed. You've got to hurry.
One of the really cool things about the Conduit on the Wii is it was like the very first-person shooter on the Wii that had like basically a million like different sensitivity options. Like you could pause the game at any moment and like you can configure every single aspect of like the motion controls, like the bounding box for when the camera starts moving when you move the cursor to the sides. You could change like how quick the camera moves, like the acceleration. But there was a lot of stuff you could do with that alone, and also it had like a different like unique like graphics engine for it, so it was like kind of a very ambitious game for its time. I don't know if this game still holds up, but I remember playing that when it first came out, and it was a pretty decent first-person shooter for the system. Came out over 10 years ago.
Capcom's Resident Evil has long been a popular choice on Nintendo platforms, and it's a top seller for Wii. It's a franchise that works both as a shooter and as an adventure. And with Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles, you're going to see familiar characters in a new light.
Is this the Dark Side Chronicles? Yeah, I think it's Dark Side Chronicles. I've never played the Umbrella Chronicles or the Dark Side Chronicles, like they were both like on-rail shooters for the Wii. I wonder if those games will ever get like remasters and like, you know, like put them on Steam, use mouse support, like I'd be down for that. Or better yet, put them on the Switch and use the Joy-Con for aiming.
Last year, Electronic Arts put its full weight behind a new intellectual property, Dead Space. The action was frantic, but left fans with an important question. Exactly how did that disaster happen? There's only one place they'll find the answer, and it's on a new version of the series built exclusively for Wii called Dead Space Extraction.
I think this game is also an on-rail shooter.
All around.
I know, but there's us 4. We've done okay so far.
I've never played a Dead Space game, but I was aware of the Wii version. Rest in peace, Visceral Games. Yeah, it's an on-rail shooter. I mean, it kind of makes sense to make it an on-rail shooter, considering you can use the Wii Remote IR for like aiming and shooting and stuff. But it's kind of like a weird, like, you know, not tonal shift. It's just like a shift in gameplay from like over the camera, like shooting and exploring, to like that. I don't know if that game's any good, like the one on Wii. I know that the original Dead Space is like a good game, but I've never played it.
Third-party publishers are drawn to opportunity. And right now, there's no opportunity larger than Nintendo. And you're going to have the opportunity to play each of these excellent games at the show here this week. But what about Nintendo itself? Could a new, edgier game also be coming from us? The answer is absolutely. And since two heads are better than one, we invited one of the most celebrated development teams in the world, one with a proven track record in the mature space, to join us in taking a fresh look at a storied franchise. Here's a preview of what we've been creating together.
Oh Jesus, volume. Oh, this is Metroid Prime, or not Metroid Prime, sorry, Metroid Other M. That was a weird game. Like, I know that game hasn't got the best reception. Is the game any good? Because I know a lot of people didn't like the narrative of it, like something to do with like the characterization of like Samus herself is what people had a beef with. I'm not sure if the game itself is actually good. You know, it's kind of sad to think that this is the last console Metroid game we've seen in over a decade. I mean, yeah, there was one on the 3DS, like a remake of the second game, but that was not a console, that was a handheld.
Remember me?
That's where that meme comes from. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. Remember me?
I'm Samus Aran.
Alright. I mean, at the time, that seemed like a really big deal, I guess. That was the last game announcement, by the way. Like, we're about a minute away from the end of this.
Cammy started out today talking about surprise. And I'm guessing even the most passionate Metroid fans found some surprise in that trailer for Metroid Other M. What I can tell you is that this historic collaboration is going to reveal a Metroid game unlike any you've experienced before. It will take you deeper into Samus's story and further into the Metroid universe. Again, this is in keeping with one of the timeless missions of Nintendo, bringing you names that are so familiar, but revitalized to make them new again. At the same time, Wii Motion Plus and the Wii Vitality Sensor are new devices that can transport you to new worlds of gaming. In the end, we believe we can provide something for everyone. We believe there's a place in gaming for everyone. And we remain committed to making Nintendo everyone's game. Thank you for your attention this morning, and we look forward to seeing you on the show floor.
Right, okay, well that's the end of the conference, and I must say that was way better than 2008's conference. Like, they shown a lot more games there, and like Reggie said at the end, like, it was more focused on, like, you know, you catering to everyone, as in, like, not just the casual crowd, but also the gamers. Like, they shown a lot of games during that one, and yeah, I would say that was overall way better than the last one. Cammy Dunaway didn't look like a fucking psychopath that just like left a psycho asylum thing, an insane asylum. If I could get my words out, but yeah, overall I would say that was like a way better presentation, and yeah, don't really have much else to say other than that. That was generally good, and yeah, I know Metroid Prime, Metroid. Why do I keep saying Prime? I know that Metroid Other M doesn't have the best reception or the best. Honestly, I don't even know what the problem is with that game. I don't think it's the gameplay. I think it's like the way that they characterize Samus in that game or something. Like, I've never played it, so I wouldn't know. But I know it never had like the best reception or the best like what's the word I'm looking for, reputation. But at the time, announcing this game out of nowhere was like kind of a good like final game to announce, and I can't. I'm really bad at like summing up my words right now, but I'm just gonna blame the heat like I usually do. Anyway, I'll just let you guys stare at this for a couple minutes while I get things set up here. So yeah, you can just we'll stick that over. Yeah, we'll stick that over there. Why not? 7 viewers live. But yeah, overall I would say that was way better than the last one. Like, that one didn't feel like a complete like cringy shit show. Like, that one felt like they had like effort into it. Like, maybe they had like feedback, or like they heard about like people talking about, oh, this conference is terrible. It's like Sony's 2006 E3 conference bad. Like, it was almost like that level of like badness to it, and then this one was like a complete turnaround, in my opinion. It felt like a way better presentation on all fronts. Not perfect by any means. Like, obviously some stuff like the Wii Vitality sensor never really materialized in the end of the day, but everything else was decent. So yeah, I'm just repeating words at this point, but that's my thoughts on that. So maybe later tonight we'll watch the 2010 one. If I don't do it tonight, I'll try to see my way about doing that over the weekend.